You're listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, where you get valuable information you just can't find anywhere else. To thrive in today's trying times, you need the Financial Survival Network, now more than ever. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and get your free newsletter and gift. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.
And welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz, and today is April 19th, 2021. Well, just like if you care about your health, you're probably watching your diet and trying to make changes to increase your quality of life and to prolong your lifespan. Well, it's not much different when it comes to money. And person you're about to hear from, well, he's come up with a rather unique means of helping you accomplish your goals, avoid debt, get rid of debt from your life, and it all comes down to just a better living. The name of the company is Qube Money, and Shane Walker is with us now. Shane, it's great to have you on the show. So when we think about what you're doing here, the digital envelope, what is it you're trying to accomplish here?
Well, what we're accomplishing is helping reconnect spending with money so people can experience financially healthy lifestyles, ultimately.
And it's kind of like you go into the casino, the first thing you do is you buy chips, and then you're playing with chips. Your brain disconnects the chips with money, and you're much more apt to overindulge, not that you should be gambling at all. There's a lot of reasons not to gamble, but the point is it's the same thing as eating bad food. You're disconnecting your need for nutrition from what your body needs, and instead you're having things that aren't really good for you. And that's what credit kind of has done to the population at large, hasn't it?
That's exactly right. It's so funny you use that example. I just read a blog article that our company wrote, and that's exactly the analogy with the chips. That disconnection creates a loss of realization of what you're doing with your money.
Right.
And when the credit card was introduced in 1950, that's what happened is it no longer was exchange of cash. It was the swipe of a card. And now with digital wallets that make it even more easy and more disconnected, people aren't aware of what's happening with their money. And it's caused some massive social issues.
Yeah, for sure. We're over indebted with the country and the world. The world is in the same boat because when they came up with these credit cards, it made credit instantly obtainable to the masses. Before that, you'd be on the layaway plan. You wanted a new dishwasher and you put down $10 and then you spent $10 a week and eventually you got it and no debt. Right. It's so interesting. But now with debt, everything you can have it right now. And not only does it get rid of the concept of money and substitute that for credit, but it also takes away your sense of accomplishment and your sense of prioritizing because you can just have it all, right?
That's right. And it ultimately enslaves you. You're a slave to that debt, and it requires you to pay every month, right? And most people, their income as a whole is being is flowing to the people, the institutions that they're indebted to. But Kerry, what you just said is so true. If you go back to our grandparents, and our great grandparents, they got a paycheck in the form of cash, and they set that money aside. And we use the cash envelope method of methodology within our system because that is what has been used for centuries. And it's proven it works when you put money aside every month or every week for something and you watch that build and then you make the purchase. you've given that money purpose, right? And it's organized for that purpose. And so in today's world, so I guess a little bit about our story is my partner Ryan and I, we met in college actually selling pest control door to door. Funny story. But we both went in the financial health industry, wanting to help really make an impact in people's lives. And we learned in a short period of time that somebody had to have a really strong why to break bad habits in this environment that we live in with money, because it's so much easier not to be healthy than it is to be healthy. Not like food, right? It's so much easier to go to McDonald's than to go and eat a salad, right?
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. And so anyways, we learned to really interview people and make sure that they had a strong why. But even then, with the tools that were available, unless they did the physical cash envelope method of spending, where they literally took their money out of the bank from an ATM or whatever, organized it in envelopes that were categorized for fuel and groceries and entertainment and whatever else, and then exchanged that cash for merchandise, right? And things that they need. They weren't able to stick to their plan. They would continue to fall off. And if you look at today's world and actually using cash, it's hard. I mean, it takes Navy SEAL discipline, and it's almost really, it's not practical because so much of our purchasing is done online, and there's many places because of COVID-19 that don't even take cash anymore, right? You can't pay your rent, mortgage. So there's so many things that cash don't work for. So anyways, but the kind of what inspired us finally to make the dive and to develop something that digitally resembled the cash envelope method of spending was a couple out of Texas, really neat couple. They were making a doctor's, he was in the oil industry, but they were making, a doctor's salary, really great income. And they had been for over a decade, but literally had nothing to show for it except for a huge home, beautiful toys, box office tickets, and all of this stuff. And their marriage was struggling. And when we interviewed them, it became very clear that they were like, things have got to change. And so we spent a lot of time helping them restructure, actually specifically Ryan did, my partner, restructuring their spending, putting accountability checkpoints in, putting them on a system, a really good actually budgeting system. But within 3 months, they had figured it out because the bank and the budget weren't the same, how to go around it. And within a year, they were divorced. And Ryan's parents were divorced because of finances really tough on him when he was a teenager. And it just broke him. Like he was like, this was like our perfect opportunity to make an impact. And we failed. Another family, was split up because of money. And so that's when he sat down with a friend in the processing developing world and said, is there any way we can digitize the methodology of cash envelopes so that it works in today's world? So that's really what started Qube Money. And it was actually drawn out on a napkin in a restaurant. How could this work? How could we make this so it would reconnect spending and money, but in a digital way, so it was practical for people to use it?
And it makes total sense. So just explain to us how it works, how you get one of these digital envelopes.
Don't just survive, thrive. The Financial Survival Network.
Goldterra Resource Corp is a gold exploration company that has assembled a highly prospective district-scale land position on the doorstep of the city of Yellowknife in Canada's Northwest Territories. Goldterra is currently focused on expanding and delineating gold resources at the company's Yellowknife City Gold Project with a goal of discovering over 5 million ounces. With ready access to infrastructure and multiple high-grade gold discoveries, Goldterra is on track to re-establishing Yellowknife as one of the premier gold mining districts in Canada. Goldterra trades as YGT in Toronto and YGTFF on the OTC. For more information, go to goldterracorp.com. That's goldterracorp.com.
This is the Financial Survival Network, the information you need to thrive now more than ever.
Yeah. So I guess maybe let me go into really quick what makes cash envelopes so effective? Many people thought it's the cash and the feeling of cash leaving that was an emotional experience that they didn't want to do. But what we found that there's actually 3 underlying principles that make it so effective. The first is this idea of zero-based budgeting, and which means that you give every dollar a job before you spend it. So that's what gives your money purpose in your mind and organization. Then the second is that you look at your budget before you spend. If you think about it, you pulled out that envelope, you looked at the cash in there, and it happened very quickly, but you made a subconscious decision. Should I really be doing this? Right? Before you spent, when the decision needs to be made. And then the final thing is your money and your budget are the same thing. And so when it was gone, right? You saw in real time the impact of what you were doing, the possibilities and the limits of your money. And so when we built Qube Money, we simply created a complete banking environment, but then made the methodology resemble those 3 principles. So to create an account with Qube Money, you simply go to QubeMoney.com and start here. And you actually create a digital bank or a neobank account. And for those that are listening, we're actually partnered with an FDIC chartered bank called, oh my goodness, my mind just went blank, Choice Financial Group. And so the money is held in a safe. I mean, we meet all of the regulations. So, but when the money comes in to your account, it comes into what we call as the cloud, Qube Cloud. And really that's an envelope or money that hasn't yet given a job. It's money without purpose. You haven't allocated. So to spend that money, you allocate that money into your digital cubes, which are digital envelopes. And you can have as many envelopes as you want. And so our family has an envelope for family vacation, for family fun, for my wife, free spending money, my free spending money, groceries, and on, right? And so we allocate that money into those cubes. Now, once it's in the cubes, it's in a position where it has purpose, so it's ready to spend. And to spend it, it's connected to a special debit card that by design is default 0, meaning that there's no money connected to that card until you first tap to spend. So you tap one of those, the money in one of those envelopes, and it immediately becomes available on the card. And so what that does is it controls your spending to the money in the envelope. And if you try to spend more than it is in that envelope, it declines because there's not enough money. And you can easily move money from one cube to the other, right? So that you can make decisions in real time that, you know what, this is a higher priority than, maybe family fun or whatever. So I'm gonna transfer some money from there into this cube so I can make this purchase. So it makes it very quick and very easy and happen in real time. So then once you transact, you process the card, and we're on Apple Pay and Google Pay and so forth. So you can use your mobile wallet. But once the transaction goes through, the card returns to a default 0. The cube immediately updates with whatever you spent. So it shows what's left over after that transaction. And then the transaction is ledgered all in real time.
Oh, very cool. That's really great and easy to use, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Very easy. I mean, it's like one of the interesting transitions for people that are using Qube is they've been used to spending and then going back and tracking. Now you don't have to track. It all does that for you. And so the difference is before you spend, using Face ID and tapping that dollar amount. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And what they have found is they spend much, much less time worrying and looking at their money because it's the after the fact tracking is what took them so much time. Right.
Right. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So it makes it easy.
All right. Well, hey, if people want to find out more about this, they want to connect with you on the web, where's the best place to go now?
So it's best to go to QubeMoney.com, and that's spelled QUBE money.com. And our website really does a great job. We have chat built in so you can connect with our our customer support team. And we do a good job of describing what we do and how we do it.
Hey, that's really interesting. Well, there's a link to it in the show notes to this interview on Financial Survival Network. If you have any questions for Shane or myself, just send an email to my personal address, kl@kerrylutz.com. And of course, sign up for the free newsletter, financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Shane, wish you the best of luck. It's really a noble undertaking, and we'll look forward to following up, seeing how all this is going.
Thank you, Kerry. It's been great to meet with you.
Thanks for listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, your solution to today's trying times. For the latest, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.